Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today as we're talking about WWE's Crown Jewel pay-per-view coming up Halloween on Thursday. This is going to be an early afternoon pay-per-view for fans on the WWE Network that happen to have Thursday off. I can remember the first time the WWE Network ran an NXT TakeOver show live. It was from London is where it was, and the show actually started here on the West Coast at like 10 or 11 o'clock, and I thought that was one of the coolest things in the world, to be home from work, just watching a wrestling show in the early afternoon, basically giving me, from about 2 o'clock on, free time to do almost anything in the world that I wanted to. I know that a lot of people in the world do not have Thursdays as their day off, but I do think that it is a very cool alternative to know that if they stay off social media, they don't check into Twitter or Facebook, and stay spoiler-free, that they could have a wrestling show to start on demand, basically whenever they see fit to sitting down and watching the show. They could come home, and watch the show right off the bat. They could come home, read the newspaper, watch the news, and press a few buttons, and bam, there it is, live from Saudi Arabia, the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. I will say that as of right now, WWE has 6 matches lined up that have already been advertised as of right now. Almost all of the contracted WWE male wrestlers will be making the trip over from Raw and SmackDown. As you can remember, last year, WWE made huge bounds trying to get women pushed onto the show. I believe it was Natalya and Alexa Bliss made the trip to Saudi Arabia, but they were not able to talk the contracted people in charge to letting them have wrestlers, female wrestling, featured on the show. So as of right now, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Bayley, none of the main eventers are featured for this show. But it would be a huge, huge deal to get women on this show. But as of right now, I don't think that it is going to happen. Right now, presently, Vince McMahon and Undertaker are on a tour of Saudi Arabia. I guess you can say doing media and getting people ready for WWE to come to town. As of right now, there is no Undertaker match announced, but if he's going to be there, you would think he is going to let his presence known somewhere on the Crown Jewel show. I don't see Undertaker traveling to Saudi Arabia just to shake some hands and kiss some babies for Vince McMahon. But then again, he was at WrestleMania this year, and we didn't see him besides for the Monday Night Raw night after WrestleMania affair. When I look at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view right now and the 6 matches that have been announced, the only match that really has my attention is Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez for the WWE Championship. WWE, are they really going to put the WWE Championship? To me, being a kid who started watching wrestling in the 80s, the WWE Championship draws lines back to the same title that was held by Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I understand that the Universal Championship, because of its ties to Monday Night Raw and Raw being the A show, it tends to be the number one title in the company. As of right now, the big push on SmackDown, with Brock Lesnar being the WWE Champion, are they basically switching that the WWE Championship now is the main thing? Cain Velasquez coming into WWE after a pretty hyped UFC career. I'm pretty sure he was their heavyweight champion at one point. And Cain coming in, basically being somebody who had beat Brock Lesnar in UFC. Brock, basically, when he's taken that championship, has had very long reigns, besides for his last one, where he upset Seth Rollins, cashing in the Money in the Bank, only to be defeated, I believe, at the next pay-per-view, only having like a 1-month run with the belt. But Brock versus Cain Velasquez being the main event tends to be the one match that I really think that I'm going to care about. You know, when it looks at the Universal Championship match of Rollins versus The Fiend Bray Wyatt in a Falls Count Anywhere match that cannot be stopped for any reason, I don't really think that match really matters in the long run, because the fact that WWE has cried wolf with these Saudi Arabia and Australia shows not really having championships change hands, even though I think that most of us thought that the first show from Saudi Arabia was going to having a whole huge deal of championships change hands just to show WWE fans that the Saudi Arabia shows do mean something, and they are shows that are more than house shows than people really need to see. But in the long run, nothing really happened. So I don't think we're going to see the championship change hands, because if it did, Bray Wyatt would be bringing the belts over to the SmackDown brand, the same show that Brock Lesnar seems to hold down. But as of right now, I guess it is possible that Rollins could lose to Bray. Bray could take the Universal Championship to SmackDown. And at the same time, Cain Velasquez could win the WWE Championship. And to keep Cain and Brock away from each other, Cain could sign to the Monday Night Raw brand. Both shows have championship belts. And Cain Velasquez's career in WWE, it said that he signed a 3 or 4 year deal. Starts off with him being champion in his first match. And it starts off, in the biggest possible way. In my opinion, that would be horrible, because I don't see Cain Velasquez at this point in his career being a every Monday Night Raw kind of guy. I seem to think that he's probably on the same deal that Brock Lesnar would be on. We're only going to see him Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and an occasional pay-per-view that they just pull him out of the hat and put him on. So the show is also hyped by Tyson Fury making his WWE debut against Braun Strowman. This is a very weird match as well, because Braun Strowman being a babyface, Tyson Fury being a celebrity, two guys that just can't seem to be in the same room together, so they're going to get in there and they're going to slug it out. Braun doesn't really lose in WWE all that much, but then again, I don't really see Tyson Fury losing as well. But I still hold on that this match becomes some sort of clusterfuck, and both guys end up becoming friends in the end. Maybe they just stand there and they just punch the crap out of each other, trading blows until they just earn respect for each other, and they just go after some sort of outside source that interferes in the match, that maybe they're upset that they didn't get a match on the pay-per-view. From there we go to Team Hogan versus Team Flair. This match is a 5-on-5. I was really thinking this was going to be some sort of like Survivor Series deal, but it looks like it's just going to be a regular tag match. We're going to find the last member of Team Flair on Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. But as of right now, I mean, the star power is all over Team Flair. When it comes down to names, I think that Flair has Hogan beat, but there's no way. Hogan must pose. He has to get the win here, especially with Roman Reigns being on his team. So the card fills out basically with Mansoor, who's from Saudi Arabia, against Cesaro. I don't really care about this match at all. Mansoor, of course, is the guy that won the Battle Royal on the last Saudi Arabia show. And then also to add hype and get all of the tag teams onto the show, since they're not having the Battle Royal Rumble this year, they are having the largest tag team turmoil match in the history of WWE. We are going to have basically AJ Styles is involved in this match. All right, whatever. You had the OC, you had the Revival, Hawkins and Ryder. You have the Lucha House Party. They're a trio as well. You've got the B Team. You've got Heavy Machinery, the New Day, the War Machine, and you have Rude and Ziggler in there. You would think that they possibly are going to give somebody a title shot coming out of this. So You would think that maybe they're going to give the happy ending to Heavy Machinery getting the win here, or maybe possibly the New Day. But in the long run, I think that this match is just supposed to eat up time on the pay-per-view, trying to make it look like it's a full show. And I'll go with one of them to get the win. I don't think it really matters. But I think for me, I'm going to check in with this show on Thursday. I want to see if they have the guts to put the title on the Fiend Bray Wyatt. If not, I think that his time in WWE is possibly dead because, I mean, just so many times they've started and stopped with Bray Wyatt that it looks like this is just another WrestleMania 30 or maybe another WrestleMania 31 or, even, WrestleMania, what was that, 33 when he lost to Orton. They give him a big push. They don't know what to do with him, so they just have him lose. So that's Crown Jewel. I'm not overly excited, but we'll see what goes down with the show on the pay-per-view.